it's Reagan, and today I'm here to do my October book haul. And before I begin, I want to initially apologize for any possible construction sounds. They're pouring concrete outside my apartment right now, and I need to film, so we just gotta live, we just gotta make do with the concrete and the books. I have a pretty decent collection of books to talk about this month. All of them I'm incredibly excited for. Most of them are new releases that I picked up or pre-ordered throughout the month of October. The first book I'm gonna talk about is not actually a physical book, but is actually an audiobook from Audible, who I'm working with for this video. And I have been loving audiobooks since I moved to New York and began commuting on the subway to and from work. Subways are really crowded, and being able to zone out with an audiobook while you're just crammed and surrounded by people on a subway to and from work every day has been a joy I look forward to and have loved and am so grateful for. But the audiobook I've recently been listening to and loving on my commute is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I am on a roll reading Brandon Sanderson books during my commute, and this particular audiobook is awesome because it's the 10th anniversary edition, and I'm really liking it. That being said, if you guys are interested in starting your own Audible subscription, I will leave the information link down below as well as on the screen. You can use my code PRUSEPROJECT to get a free 30-day trial. If you're interested, I would definitely give it a try. Audiobooks have been an amazing mentor for me personally, so it might be something great for you as well. So that's my first book that I'm gonna haul. Next book I picked up was Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zusak. This is one of the most highly anticipated books of like my life, I feels like. I've been waiting for this book for 10 years. I got the signed first edition copy, obviously, but this book I initially thought was a fantasy book. I was wrong. I've started it, I'm about 50 pages in. Being 50 pages in, I still don't have a full grasp of what this book is about, aside from it following a family of boys, and something happens to one of the members of this family that's kind of disclosed in the first chapter. The writing style of this book is very unique. It's definitely not something I feel like I've come across very often. It makes it a little difficult to read, like it's a little confusing, but it also is really enjoyable. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you've read any part of this book, I think you'll understand what I mean by that. Like, everyday scenarios are just written about and explained and talked about differently, where you kind of have to reread it to ground yourself back in the story. But yeah, anyway, I picked this up. I was really excited to have it. I'm excited to continue to read it, and I'm sure I'll have a review about it once I finish it. Next up, I have Muse of Nightmare by Laini Taylor, another really highly anticipated book for me. The sequel to Strange the Dreamer, which I read last year and loved. I'm planning to read this book next. But The Strange the Dreamer is an absolutely amazing lyrical fantasy story, following a very powerful dual perspective, one of them being Lasso Strange, who basically spends his time being a scholar on this lost city of Weep, which I feel like I've talked about the synopsis a lot, but this is a story that is just breathtaking in its scope and also its originality, and I feel like Laini Taylor always does such an exceptional job really bringing the element of human pain and human like complexity to even the most fantastical situations. Like, yeah, someone might have wings or have magical powers, but the pain that they feel is still really relatable in our world as well. That being said, can't wait to dive into the sequel. I think it's gonna be incredible. I cannot wait. It's also so shiny. The next book I'm gonna talk about is Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I recently just read Vicious, so I feel like fresh and ready to dive into this sequel. I loved Vicious just as much as I did the first time, so I'm really curious to see how she's going to go and approach this sequel, just because I felt like the first one did end in a like satisfying way. I'm sure we'll be following some new characters, and I'm sure we'll encounter some old characters, and the storylines will just take my breath away. V.E. Schwab always has such amazing dark writing about characters, especially in this series, that you kind of love to hate. But yeah, I don't really want to know too much about this book before going in. I've already heard really good things about that, so I'm taking that as a very positive expectations for going into this book. Definitely think I'll pick this up soon, or rather than later, and I just hope it's good, dark, and delicious. The last two books I have to talk about are the two books I picked from Book of the Month this month. The first one is The Hurricane's Eye by Nathan Philbrick. This is a nonfiction novel that follows a little-known battle from the Revolutionary War, and apparently gives us a new provocative way of looking at the war that created the United States. So that sounds interesting. I always feel like I don't read enough about American history. So I feel like I've always looked at American history as super boring, as I've preferred European history. But since I've encountered Hamilton, I'm like, I need to give American history more of a try. So I saw this on Book of the Month as an option. I picked it up because it sounded really cool. So hopefully I like it. And the last book I have to show you guys in this video is Kate Morton, The Clockmaker's Daughter. And this just sounds like a really beautifully written, like lyrical, historical fiction, crime murder mystery, which are honestly all of my favorite things, but this follows a group of artists that go to this secluded manor in hopes of having a beautiful and lazy summer together, but by the end of it, one woman is shot dead while another has disappeared, a priceless heirloom is missing, and one character's life is in absolute ruins. And this is the story of that whole thing unfolding. It sounds very, very interesting, very entertaining, and one that I think will keep me on the edge of my seat. And I also love the cover, and the author just looks so trendy. I mean, she got a full back page, like, wow. So yeah, definitely excited to pick this up, I wanna say this winter. It sounds like something I'm gonna read soon. Guys, those are all of the books I picked up this October. Not a bunch, but I think a really nice curated group of books. Let me know down below some books you've picked up recently, as I would love to know, and be sure to check out the Audible coupon below if you want a free month free if you're interested, and I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!